Well, I want to start with a topic that I think is really timely right now, because I think in the past year, some people may have put off home maintenance, whether it was an HVAC inspection or things like that because of COVID. And now that things are starting to trend back towards normal, can you talk a little bit about, if you're going to put all this money into a home, what kind of maintenance is necessary in protecting that investment over time? I mean, you've sold 1,000 homes, so you've got to have some great ideas on how to keep your home tip top.
Absolutely. And I tell you, lack of really the biggest challenge we deal with in selling someone's home is typically, the lack of properly maintaining the home. And when it catches up to you is when you go to sell it. Mm-hmm. And then you end up with spending, in some cases, thousands of dollars to fix issues that, well, maybe you just didn't know about, or sometimes you just get used to them, and that little dripping sink that just doesn't bother you can become an issue down the road. So, but deferring the maintenance cost it's real money, and eventually you will pay because it's just one of those things where, as you put things off, it can get much more expensive. So properly keeping everything maintained, it's going to save you the repairs. It's going to save you the headaches of dealing with that, but it's going to save you much more money over the long-term commitment to buying the home. And so, one thing that we teach is every owner does need to set aside some funds every month, just for upkeep and repairs. And it can be things that you put into your family budget. It could be anything from, like heating and cooling. A lot of the, professional companies in the area, you can get a maintenance contract with them. And it's a few $100s a year, but they come out and they, go through everything. They clean it. They let you know, if there's any issues that are going on. It also keeps that unit being maintained. Actually will also help with the utility cost, because it's running the way it should run, as opposed to you just turned it on for 6 years. If you think about your car, if you don't maintain your car, it stops running. And then you're either having to buy a new one, having to fix that, or you're walking. Right? And so none of those are fun. None of those are fun things that you want to do. So just like you properly maintain your car, the great thing about, I guess one thing that the state does do by forcing an annual inspection, it actually kind of makes you address some of the things from a maintenance standpoint. Now, we don't have that in real estate. We don't have we don't have the DMV or the state saying, hey, you're going to have your house inspected and we're going to send somebody over to check it. Although you don't need the state to tell you to do that. You can just do it on your own. And having these things, maintained. What I like to see is things like the HVAC, the water heater, roof, sinks, faucets, the crawl space, gutters, downspouts, proper landscaping. Those are the culprits that we see causing most of the issues when owners that haven't addressed those things for years and years, and we go to, sell the house. I suggest to all owners, you should hire a home inspection company about every 3 to 5 years to come out to your home just to get that extra set of eyes on it. And, most owners only inspect their house one time over the whole entire time they own the house, and that is when they purchased it. Yet, most of the problems we see is when they go to sell that same home. And then we go back and look, and guess what? Most of the time, the issues that we're finding have been going on for 3 to 5 years. It's not something that just happened last week. And so had the owner had an inspection at, year 3, 4, 5, whatever you choose, depending on, the newer the house, maybe at 5 years. But if it's an older home, maybe at 3 years. We just look at it on a case-by-case basis. But that issue would have been discovered, and they would have saved money by preventing the damage. And so, a home inspection in a triad is $400 to $600. Just look at it like insurance. It's a good insurance policy. Yeah, if we do it every 5 years, let's just call it $100 a year that we set aside to have that inspection at year 5. And the key is you can catch things before they become an event. And if you've been to an event before, one thing about events, they're right?
Yes.
They're not typically cheap. And you don't want that. You don't want your house to be an event. It is not a fun check to write. It's never a fun check to write when you have to fix something. It's a fun check to write if you're going to like make it pretty and do something that you just wanted to do. But making repairs, typically a lot of times the repairs are in places in which nobody's going to see them,
Right.
which is never fun.